All right, we are recording, and I want to welcome everybody to the All Heat Team Call, Tuesday nights of the month. And I'm really excited for this call because if everybody knew the backstory about us trying to get on the call tonight, we were in heavy traffic, couldn't find a hotel because everything was booked. How weird. Like everything is booked in the whole world, everywhere we called. And I knew I had to be on this call tonight. So we risked it, we manifested it, we're here, we landed in the hotel about 15 minutes ago, and I'm so excited to do that because when we were at conference, well, first of all, for those of you that don't know me, I need to take a breath. Okay, I'm Nikki Cotton. Chris is somewhere right behind me. We are 100 Club members with the Juice Plus company. We've been with the company for 26 years. And it's been a most amazing journey because it's really allowed us to do what we love, which is connect with people, help people get healthy, and change lives financially. And I can't imagine anything more exciting than doing that. And it's, of course, the connection that's so important. And what I love is this whole idea that we have an opportunity to continue to grow, continue to make new relationships and friends. And so at conference this year, I heard one of the most amazing national marketing director speeches ever, and she really caught my attention and my heart. And so after that convention, I said she's got to be on our Heat Team call because everybody has to meet her. And that's Kristan Nowland. And let me just tell you a little bit of her background. And she's going to tell you her story. She's going to share with you so that you're going to fall in love with her the way all of us who saw that speech have. So she's a registered nurse, oncology, bone, marrow transplant background, certified health coach. She's had time, job traveling to do health coaching to caregivers of wounded veterans. She's been married for 28 years. Her husband's in the military, or was in the military, and you can more of that. Still is. Mm-hmm. She's a mom of 3. She's been a Juice Plus rep for 5 years, and she's currently living in Tucson. No wonder you know the Tucson team. How cool. And I think we met at one of the events in Phoenix also, right?
Actually, you came to Tucson. You and Chris were talking, and my husband happened to be in town, and he got to meet you guys and hear your talk.
I totally remember talking to both of you in Tucson. Now it's all coming together.
But I can't even remember when that was, to tell you the truth. Maybe Donna does. I can't remember.
2 years ago, not this year, but last year.
Okay.
So, Kristan, I'm going to put you on as a brand new national marketing director. We're going to spotlight you. Would everybody remember to mute themselves out? If not, I will be muting everybody. And if I do that, Kristan, just know to unmute yourself if I have to do that, because I haven't done that yet. And there you go. Welcome, Kristan.
Okay. Everybody hear me? Okay.
I can hear you.
So I just have to give just a funny little story. So when Nikki called to ask me to be in the call, and I literally thought, I wonder if she has the wrong number. Because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is Nikki and Chris Cotton. These people are like, I think they're incredible. And I've heard him speak actually a couple times, just in a bigger venue too. But I thought, wow, I am so honored that she would even want me on this call. And so I just have to say, I feel so privileged and so honored. And I love getting to see other faces from other teams. I think that's kind of one of the great gifts, is that we get to have so many different sideline buddies in this business. And it just warms my heart to see faces that I know and that I've not met. And I hope that at one time, if you ever see me walk by, that you'll just come up and say hi to me, and I'll do vice versa to you and get to meet you. So what I told, so then Nikki says to me, well, Kristan, what do you want to talk about? I'm like, well, gosh, I don't know what I want to talk about. I don't have a bunch of talks, in my back pocket or whatever. But I just thought I'd go. I really then kind of felt led by my heart to share just things that I had perceived as obstacles in my Juice Plus journey that hindsight turned out to be incredible opportunities. And I know every single one of you that are listening to me right now all have obstacles in your life. All have different roadblocks that come up, especially as you go on and you develop and you do your business as a Juice Plus distributor. But I think the big thing is how we react to those obstacles and how we turn those obstacles into opportunities is the key. And I basically have learned this along the way. It's not like I had some great, insightful golden rule when I started. I think another great thing of being in our company, which we all hear, is that it's a personal development program. It's about the best, it's the best $50 I have ever paid as a personal development for myself and to try to become a better person in all aspects of my life. So I want to start today, like we all do, with sharing a little bit about my story. And then I'm going to share with you about 3 stories that have been pretty impactful in my life and in my journey as a Juice Plus distributor. So as Nikki said, 5 years ago, I was introduced to Juice Plus by a dear friend of mine. And at the time, I thought, yeah, Juice Plus made sense to me. As she said, my background was oncology and bone marrow transplant nursing. And I'd done that for over 10 years. And I had actually done it in the Air Force also because I had been an active duty nurse at one time in the Air Force. And I saw the ravaging effects of cancer and lifestyle and the effects of lifestyle choices on the human body. So Juice Plus made sense to me, but there's no way, if I want to be honest with all of you, that I really expected to see any physical difference in our family. But I started it because I liked the idea of it and it made me feel good as a mom. I had one in college, one in high school, and one in middle school at the time. Well, shortly thereafter, we did start seeing differences, and we started seeing, more energy. My husband had better endurance in his workouts. He was suffering very regularly from migraines. I was popping Motrin all the time. Started seeing that really start to dissipate, and the headaches become less and less, and the migraines less and less. And I started seeing my kids' health better, and that they weren't getting as sick as they were, especially my youngest daughter, who was really sick. So at the 4-month point, my dear friend Lori she shared with me about the business. And I, as the great friend that I was, pointed my finger in her face and said there was no way and blankety blank I was ever going to do this business, and I was never going to sell this product. But I did like the idea of a family discount because I was always, frugal and watching my pennies and liked that idea. And we were also supporting my niece who was a single mom, and I wanted to get her and her kids on the product, so it made sense to me. Well, a few weeks went by, and then it just hit me like a ton of bricks. How selfish was I? We were seeing all these changes in my family, and I was going to keep this to myself. And I started thinking, this is really selfish. But then, because of my background in bone marrow transplant, I was used to clinical studies and very familiar with the process of clinical studies. And so I started reading the actual research, and I started looking at Juice Plus, and I started thinking, wow, this is a pretty incredible product, and it's backed by science, and the science is not fake science. This is the real stuff, and it's in magazines, it's in journals that I was familiar with, and I was just impressed that they were even published in these type of journals. So based on that, I got off my little high horse, and I realized that I really needed to go out and do this. But this is where my first story comes into play. So at the time that my friend shared with me about the business and I signed up as a distributor, I was living in San Antonio, and I was living on Randolph Air Force Base. And when you're on an Air Force base, it's normally and some of you I know are military that are on this call, but it's a very, very tight-knit community. And I mean, we are entwined. And on this base, we were especially tight-knit. Our kids all attended the same schools. There was elementary, middle, and high school. We attended the churches. There was all denominations on the base. We got together every weekend. Our kids played together. We were best friends with each other. We were a very tight-knit community. Our spouses worked together, and even our community outreach was all centered around the military. So we were tied in even in our off-base activity. So at the time that my friend shared with me about Juice Plus, well, we all started sharing about Juice Plus, and within a 6-month period in a 2-block radius, there was over 13 new distributors. And we just imagine hitting this base, we were ignorance on fire. We were just so psyched up to do this, but we were all entwined. We all had the same friend group. And we were all going, through the base. So I started looking at this, and we all loved each other and wanted to support each other in our goals in Juice Plus, just like our company wants to love and support us, just like all of us feel. I think that's one of my favorite things about being a Juice Plus distributor is this is not cutthroat. We are really here to lock arms with each other and to help each other and to lift each other up. But when there's 13 of us hitting the base at the same time, it did cause a little awkwardness because we all had the same friends group. So I wasn't sure. Sally had shared with this person, and I didn't want to step on someone's toes. And it was just kind of craziness. And it was craziness that it just froze me. It froze me in activity. And I really just stopped everything because I didn't know where to turn. I didn't want to step on people's toes. I didn't want this friend to think that they had to choose between me and another friend in ordering product. And so I started thinking, well, this is impossible. This is an obstacle. This is a roadblock. And I just am frozen. Well, again, I got over myself and I looked and I started thinking, wait a second, this is an incredible opportunity for me to step out of my comfortable bubble. This is an incredible opportunity for me to be bold. This is an incredible opportunity for me to look outside the base. This is an incredible opportunity for me to reconnect with friends I have not been connected and to reestablish those relationships. Because what is our business all about? Relationships and establishing relationships. And so what ended up is I got out of my comfort zone and I started doing all those things. And I built my business outside the base. And I realized that I didn't want to go outside the base because that was my comfort zone. That's where I was. But when I popped that bubble and I realized that there was a whole world out there that had not heard of Juice Plus, and I felt this responsibility to do it, it became so much easier. And when I popped that bubble and I stopped my inward focus on myself and worried about what other people would think of me, and I turned that focus to outward, guess what? That focus propelled me to fast track to sales coordinator. And that obstacle turned into one of the greatest opportunities because I reconnected with friends from 5th grade that are now, that are still, customers of mine, and it opened up. So what I really want to ask you is, what is your focus in your business? Is your focus inward where you feel comfortable and safe? Are you ready to pop that bubble and move outward into the world? So that's my one story. The next story I really want to share about actually happened here at Tucson. So we're fast forwarding, and I'll kind of go into a little bit where I've been in between. But when we arrived in Tucson, it was December of 2015. And my husband was taking over a big command. Over 20,000 people were going to be in his command. It wasn't just this base, it was several other bases in the United States. So as a spouse and as his best friend, super excited, really honored that he had this opportunity. We were both incredibly humbled by this opportunity. And I love our military, and I link arms with my husband to support our military in wherever I can. But at the time that I arrived here, I was a senior sales coordinator. And when I got here, I was super excited to share about the mission and to offer, this amazing opportunity to as many military families as I could. Except that along with this position that he had also came very, let's just say, guidelines that we both have to live in. And a lot of those guidelines are based on other people's perceptions or what people would perceive that we are doing. And one of those very big guidelines that we have to follow is there can be no perception that somebody has undue influence or undue pressure based on my husband's position. And as his spouse, I fell into that same guideline and requirement. And what did this mean to my business? How did this translate to my business? What it meant was I was not allowed to share Juice Plus to anybody that I came in contact with that was in his command, which was pretty much everybody that I knew, because this whole base was under his command. And everybody that I had interactions with in some way fell under his command. And so I sat down with the legal counsel, the military legal counsel, to find out what I was allowed or not allowed to do, because I was respectful of this and I did not want anybody to feel any undue pressure. But at the same time, I was passionate that these people needed to hear this mission. So they very nicely, said, well, Mrs. Nowland, this is awesome what you do. We kind of actually want to hear more about this product and this mission. But at the same time, you are not allowed to openly share. You are not allowed to host any events in your house. And I said, okay. And I'm taking deep breaths, thinking of the ramifications of what this meant for my business. So I have to admit, I went home and had a little pity party, had a couple glasses of wine. Pity party went on for a couple weeks as I tried to wrap my brain around how to respect my husband's position and not have anybody feel this pressure, but how to share this mission that I'm passionate about and I feel everybody needs to know about. So then I started thinking, well, guess what? I may not verbally be able to share this mission, but by gosh, I am going to live this mission. And I have always lived this mission, and living the mission is what, you guys? It's the number one process on our mission-driven model. It is the number one thing we need to do as distributors. We need to live the mission, right? So I lived the mission like there was no get out. Every meeting I went to, I had my Juice Plus shaker cup with my complete shake in it, and I would turn Juice Plus to the outside facing the people. I was in that gym. Every time I went to the gym, I had a Juice Plus shirt on. I am a certified health coach, so I felt comfortable sharing about healthy changes for people. I just was never allowed to share about Juice Plus, but I shared about healthy eating. We had to entertain a lot in this position, and I always had healthy food. So people knew that I was health-minded. Well, I started living the mission, and my husband lived the mission. He traveled all over the world, often to underdeveloped nations, but yet he always had his Juice Plus with him, and they saw him exercising every day. He would get up at 5, and he would drag all the people who traveled with him to the gym, and they would go 13 hours a day. But by gosh, they saw that he had more energy and more endurance and could go day after day after day, 13 hours. And he would return from the trip. He would be at the gym at 5 o'clock the next day. But a majority of the people that traveled with him were coming back sick. And finally, we just kept living the mission and living the mission and living the mission. And I started having people come to me, because what I was legally allowed to do, if someone came to me and asked me what I was doing, I was allowed to share it. And I was allowed to share it on my Facebook, because that was my own private Facebook. So I was very intentional on my posts and on my social media, which I had never been before. But this was my avenue to reach people, to bring people to me. And that started the whole thing here at our base. And then, lo and behold, I started having more and more people come to me and ask me. And this is also when I truly learned the gift of sideline buddies. People like Donna and all my Tucson sideline buddies, because they provided me what I couldn't do. They provided me the events. And they allowed me to come into their events. And they allowed me to bring my customers and my team members to their events, and tied me into the local community. And I am forever grateful. And because of the combination of that, of living the mission and of depending and wrapping my arms around my sideline buddies, and they wrapping their arms around me, I actually promoted front end here to Q and then to NMD. And so what became this huge roadblock that stopped me and stymied me, guess what? It was all me perceiving that as a roadblock. Once I moved myself aside again, once I started looking at the positives, once I started getting out there and once I just started living my life and living our mission, it changed everything. And so I challenge you. What is your obstacles? What are you perceiving as the obstacles in your life? Because I guarantee they are an opportunity. And it's all the way that you look and you change and you turn things around. And I'm looking at my time. Am I good on time? Okay. I have one more story. And this one is going to be a little bit hard for me to share, but I really am passionate about this. And this story is the last week before I made NMD. And many of you heard the story if you were at conference or have been on other calls. But March 27th was the Monday. And I had till March 31st, if I wasn't going to do qualifiers day, which was my goal, to make NMD. And I love my team, and my team has been amazing to me. And I wanted to make NMD more for them than for me. I just wanted to do this so bad for them. And on Monday, March 27th, in early afternoon, I got a phone call. My mom and stepdad and mother-in-law had just left here that morning from Tucson, and they were driving back to California, and they had been in a very severe car accident 4 hours from here in Blythe, California. And my stepdad and my mother-in-law had walked away from the car accident, but my mom has sustained serious injuries, to include breaking her neck, shattering 8 ribs, and breaking or fracturing her left shoulder. So like many of you, I know have had tragedies in your life, or maybe have gotten that phone call that stops your world. And that was my phone call. And it stopped my world. And I dropped everything. I didn't even say bye to my daughter who was here. And I got in the car and I drove 4 hours to my mom, who was lying on a back brace in the emergency room. And it was at that time that they came in to realize she had broken her neck and had spinal cord damage, and that they were then transferring her to a trauma ICU in Palm Springs, 2 hours away. So at 3 a.m. in the morning, I got in the car to follow the ambulance to the trauma unit. And in between the traveling, I called my buddy, in which we all need buddies in this business, and I, broke down and I shared what was going on, and and that was it. My whole focus was my mom. And my team, they just rallied around me that incredible week. And they just told me my mom was my focus and that they were going to carry my team. And my 4 uplines and my team did it. And from Sunday to that Friday, they increased, my pay line increased 10,000 PVCs. And those are just PVCs of love, because they poured into me and they poured into my team. And so what would have seemed an insurmountable tragedy that week, and became just this incredible blessing that my team bestowed on me and helped me, and all the training and all the calls and all the times I thought, am I really helping my team? Are they becoming the leaders they are, that I am hoping that they are? And are they independent? They proved everything within a shadow of a doubt that they were that and so much more. And so when I got that phone call from corporate telling me that I had made NMD, I was actually standing over my mom, and she was on a ventilator in the trauma ICU. And I'm sorry if I'm getting a little choked up. And when Karen Jones and Gloria Cooper, my business partner, congratulated me and told me, I just stopped and I said, Mom, I did it. We did it. We made NMD. And my mom mouthed to me, congratulations, and just a tear rolled down her cheek, because she knew what this meant to me, and she knew how much I love our company and I love our mission and I love our team. And to me, in a million years, I would have never imagined my phone call from corporate being in a hospital room. But again, it was such a blessing that my mom was right there and she was the first to hear it. And again, what is our company all about? It's about family, and it's about relationships, and it's about wrapping our arms around each other and linking our arms. And I am just beyond blessed to be part of such a corporation and company with a heart, and to be surrounded by people with the biggest hearts that I've ever met. And that's my story.
And now you know why, for all of you listening, we all wanted you to hear this story. But would you do me a favor and share what happened to you on the stage when you became NMD? You had a little surprise there, didn't you?
I did.
Can you share that for people who didn't see that? Because in the audience, we were already totally emotional. But when that happened actually happened at the beginning, we started crying before you started talking.
I know.
We did.
I was too. So my husband and my two daughters, who are both on my Juice Plus team. One is just graduated from A&M last week, and my daughter is graduating from high school on Saturday. They were all there. And my son, who is a second lieutenant in the Air Force, he is at pilot training in Columbus, Mississippi at the Air Force Base there, was not able to make it in. They weren't going to release him to come to here. And so I was introducing him and explaining why he wasn't on the stage. And at the time, Karen Jones, who was up on the stage, was saying, "Oh, my microphone isn't working. Something's not right." And she walks over to the stage. And then I kind of hear these gasps, and I turn around, and my son walks up on the stage. I'll start crying again. In his flight suit. My 4 NMDs a week before had said, "We cannot think of a gift for Kristan." And they're like, "Well, Kristan is all about family, and her greatest gift would be to have Nick there." And they looked at each other and they're like, "We're going to get Nick there." So 1 week before conference, they contacted his squadron. They contacted the military people over my son, and they did it all. A lot of people thought my husband had been a part of it because he had been he's a senior leader in the Air Force. But again, that undue influence, my husband is never allowed to do anything like that, especially for our son. And so these were my 4 NMDs. They did this. They flew him out. He left the base at 2 a.m. He got on an airplane at 6 a.m. They hid him behind stage, and I was there and didn't know it until he came out on stage. And they did. They gave me the greatest gift that I got to have all my kids there on stage with me, because my mom, she'd already picked out her outfit and she was going to be up there on stage with me, with my stepdad. But obviously she's still in the hospital, day 51, just to kind of update you guys. And she's still on a ventilator, and I will be joining her again next week. But it was so cool to have my son there. And also the gift of Juice Plus and my mom, because I basically have advocated for her to get it through her nasal gastric tube going in. And she's had it at her last 2 hospitals. She was just transferred to a new hospital last week. So again, I will be going there next week. So, to advocate to get it started back into her system. So gifts all around, so many blessings all around. And
I mean, when we were in the audience, we saw him standing over to the left.
Did you?
Oh, we could see him coming on before you did. And we're all going, "Oh my God, this is some sort of surprise. We don't know exactly what's going on." And of course, we're getting more and more excited. And as you turn around, we all realize what's happening. So we're all looking at each other in the audience crying. We don't know you. We don't know your son, but we know that this moment is absolutely magical. And we know the impact it's going to have on you. So we're already looking at each other, just the tears are streaming. It was such a beautiful, heartfelt, Juice Plus family moment. It really was.
It's our company.
The 3 things that I really picked up from you today around roadblocks is, number 1, you can pop the bubble of staying in your comfort zone by stepping out and being really bold. And the second thing I really got was, live the mission. People will come to you if you're living the mission, and also if you can use your sideline buddies to help you create that new bubble in your business. And the third piece, of course, is family connection and maintaining that really rigorous connectivity with your team, because that's what made that all happen in the end. They just didn't do it for you. I mean, if you had not been who you were and you had not created a team synergy, they wouldn't have rallied like that. And they were able to rally because you and your team together had created that synergy. So those are the 3 pieces that I see so important. And so we are at 6:31. If there's anybody that's got a last comment that would like, I'm going to take it off of the spotlight, and I'm going to put it back onto gallery view. So in the recording, we can all see each other. I don't know, Lisa, is there anybody that would like to say one last little thing before we jump off here? I think you've just got everybody stunned. You'll have to mute yourself if you're trying to talk.
We love you, Kristan.
Yeah, great job.
Great story.
Amazing. So
Say hi to your husband for me, Kristan.
I will when I see him. He lives in DC. Oh, and I'm moving next week to DC.
oh my gosh, another move, another opportunity, right?
It's another great opportunity. It's my well, we've been married 28 years. It will be our 20th move, my 20th move. In 28
Oh my gosh, and she's doing all that building a business, so no excuses. That's the fourth one, no excuses.
No excuses.
People unmute themselves and really give Kristan a warm thank you from the heat, from the bottom of our heart. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you, Kristan, for sharing. Thank you.
Awesome.